The Shepnaz podcast begins now.
You're listening to the Shepnaz podcast, a podcast at Shepherd Church. Everything we do here is to connect our community in a meaningful relationship with Christ. We're expecting great things. My name's Joey. I'm one of the pastors here at Shepherd, and I'm the host of this podcast. And today I am welcoming Ken Hughes, a member here at Shepherd, to talk about his story, some of the things that God has done in his life, and some of the things he gets to be a part of here at Shepherd. So you're not going to want to miss it. Here we go. Welcome in, Ken. How are you today?
Doing great, Joey. Thank you for having me in.
Yeah, of course, man. We're glad to have you. I'm thankful for you to be here, for talking to us, and I think it'd be great if we kind of just dive in and kind of hear a little bit about you, about your life, maybe when you came to faith in Christ, a little bit of that story, and about what you've gotten to do in life and some of your hobbies. How about that?
There's a lot of stories. Obviously, at my age, I'm now 83.
Okay.
I've been, since I was in the military right after high school. During that time, I began to feel a need for Christ.
Okay.
But I didn't really do much about it. And then one year, years later, I was at a baseball game. My brother-in-law invited me to a baseball game, and I call it my baseball revival. That is really through the testimonies that came to me at that time. And then I went to a revival not too many weeks later and was saved. So that was really cool.
Wow. So baseball saves.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it does.
Baseball season kicking off. Do you enjoy baseball?
I'm not really a baseball player. I'm a baseball fan sometimes.
Yeah.
But
sometimes.
if you're my friend and you're on a team, I'll be there.
Oh, okay. All right.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. We're getting ready to start T-ball for Graham because he's 5 years old.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Somehow I got suckered into being the coach of a T-ball team full of 5-year-olds who have never held a baseball before. So
That'll be fun.
You can pray for us
That'll be
and for
fun.
those boys.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit about your story and coming to faith. And so what were you able, after the military, what were you able to do? What's kind of the career path that you took?
Well, it was interesting. In the Air Force, I was a jet engine mechanic.
Okay.
And so a natural desire would be to go into that work afterwards, right? Because I already knew how to do that job. Well, I ended up at North American Aviation shortly thereafter doing riveting. I was like Rosie the Riveter. And they taught me how to do that, but he said, the engine shop doesn't have any jobs, but they'll be opening up in a few weeks. We'll see if we can get you in there. 6 weeks later, I was laid off due to the rotation and kind of things that the government does to places like Rockwell.
Yeah.
And that just happened that way. And then so I started looking around at what I should do with my career after that. And I had a lot of job offers, like to go to United Airlines in Chicago and all this stuff, to move away. I decided not to do that, but to stay here and see what the Lord had for me.
Okay.
He led me to a little company called Columbus Coated Fabrics, which taught me every job you needed to know about in industry.
Okay. From
employment to safety to order and billing and all of that, which proved to be real important later in life. And I was there just a few years and got a call to go to Battelle, which is where I really always wanted to do, was to work at Battelle in science.
Yeah.
And so I went to Battelle, started into Ohio State University at the same time, and gradually worked my way up at Battelle until I was a research scientist. Ultimately, they called me a biomedical engineer, even though I didn't have a formal degree at that time. And I got to work on all kinds of neat things like artificial heart, all kinds of implantable devices, surgical tools for the operating room, and things like that. And we worked with Ohio State and different places around Columbus. It was really, really cool time in my life. Through that work, I eventually even my interest in aviation was always there. It started quite young, and I got interested while I was doing the medical stuff about the space shuttle and what they were doing in medical work with the space shuttle. And nobody else seemed interested, so Battelle made me the director of space research. And
All right.
I don't know how that happened, but there I was.
You show interest in things, and you get put in charge of them, or they put you as the host of a podcast. So it just happens.
What was the upshot of that whole thing was we ultimately flew experiments on the space shuttle 3 times.
All right.
With my name on some of that, and that was really cool, working with a team of people to get it done.
Very cool.
Including, guess who? Rockwell.
Yeah.
Again, so it was a cool time.
They thought that you were the one that got away for them.
Yeah, it was a great time, and along the way, Battelle decided to cut back on some of their older employees after I was there 28 years, and I ended up with an early out retirement and was forced to do something else. So I started my own company, charged out on my own, doing something very similar with my own company, and all the background that I had became into play at that point.
And that's why you said it was great that you knew some of the employment and
All
the
that,
HR stuff,
yeah,
because
all that
you started a company. You need all that.
I knew how to do a lot of that already, and so I got the books on IRS and crammed and started a business and just jumped out the door on my own.
Wow.
End up doing that for like 30 years more, and then throughout all of that, I ended up working with another little engineering company on the west side. So I tell people I actually, in the end, I retired 3 times from Battelle, from Ward Engineering, and from my own company called Cornerstone Solutions.
All right.
Taken from the Bible, Cornerstone, Jesus was the cornerstone.
Yeah, that's good. And you say along the way you developed an affinity for aviation, and so you do have a unique hobby.
I do. That started, my mom told me it started out when I was 3 years old.
Okay.
I don't really remember that, but I started playing with planes and then building model planes, and the next thing you know, when at age 18, I was actually flying and learning how to fly out of Port Columbus.
Okay. And so you've been flying planes since you were 18.
Yes.
Wow.
I'm 83 now, and I'm a proud member of what's called UFO, United Flying Octogenarians.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's
and in
good.
fact, the requirement was you had to be able to fly a plane on your 80th birthday, which I proudly did.
Wow.
Took a picture, a selfie of that, and sent it in and got my membership.
Man, that's something else. Brand new event is coming to Shepherd Church this spring. Springfest happens on April 7th, and your family is sure to love it. There'll be tons of activities, from inflatable obstacle courses to a glow party, from a petting zoo to axe throwing. There's even going to be prizes for winners of games and tournaments that we have, like cornhole and can jam. Seriously, we can't wait to see you here for Springfest. You can learn more by visiting shepnaz.org/springfest. Make plans to come and spend the evening on April 7th with us at Shepherd Church. We want to get to know you. Each month, we've got an opportunity. If you're new around here, you're invited to Pizza with the Pastors at Massey's Pizza in Gahanna. The next one happens Monday, March 20th. You can RSVP by emailing Pastor Rob at rpaul@shepnaz.org. We're looking forward to seeing you and your family there. Well, let's make a little bit of a transition and talk about your involvement in your time here at Shepherd. We love to hear people's stories of how Shepherd has been instrumental in their faith and some of the things that you get to be a part of. So maybe let everyone know what was it like when you began attending Shepherd, and when was that?
Oh, a lot of people might remember or hear about Pastor Richie.
Yeah.
He had just passed away when we came here. And I believe, if I calculate that right, it's about 40 years now. right after him came, I think, Newell Smith
Okay.
and Greg Rosser and that team. And while Newell was here during that time, he got interested in forming, as a pastor, he got interested in forming a senior ministry for the older folks.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand the way the story goes, he got a hold of Bob Stewart and Dorothy, and together the three of them came up with a plan to form Prayer and Praise, which I'm still part of that ministry
So
today.
you're telling me, I don't know a whole lot, but so Prayer and Praise has been going on.
25 years this year.
All right. Mm-hmm. And so Prayer and Praise, for those who are listening, it happens on Tuesday mornings at 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
Oh, man, that's good. That's pretty proud of myself. And it is, it's focused. It's a focused time, but anybody's invited.
Yes,
You know,
anybody can
you're not
come.
turning anybody
it's
under the
focused
age.
on the crowd that's 55 and older.
But you're not turning away any 45-year-olds who want to come get their
Absolutely
praise
not.
on.
We actually have two members that are quite young.
Yeah. And so what do you do when you're a part of Prayer and Praise?
Prayer and Praise is like, I'll call it a church within a church.
Yeah.
We have, I don't know if you call me a worship leader or not. I call myself an MC.
I think everybody's worship leader.
But I actually MC that program.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, you volunteer for things and you just do it.
Again, we just got to keep our mouths shut, Ken, sometimes.
I know, yeah. Wouldn't it be great if we did this? Yeah.
They say, yeah, good news,
But
you're in charge.
anyway, we have a full-fledged worship program that starts with an introduction and prayer, and we do prayer requests on actually a sheet of paper that's passed around on a clipboard, that kind of thing. We found out years ago that saved time in the service. And so those prayers come in. My wife, Marie, and I help manage the prayers that come in and so forth to make sure everybody gets them, the prayer requests. And then we have a song service, announcements, just like you would in church. And some people say, you're goofy, Ken, but I sometimes stand up there and sing announcements.
You got to keep it fresh. It's fine.
Yeah. But I try to goof around a lot with them and have a lot of fun, and they do have a lot of fun. Our average person in our crowd is probably running anywhere from 59 to 99.
Yeah.
And most of them are in their 80s right now. We have a great service of preaching then after we do the song service. And we have 5 volunteers now that actually help with that. And we're really proud of our retired pastors that step up and do a job for us there. And then we have 2 really good Sunday school teachers that are part of that team. So that's kind of how it goes every day. And then we end with prayer and go out to lunch together.
Go out to lunch,
just,
like
chow down
the
a little
good
bit.
Nazarenes that you are. Good.
So it's a lot of fun. Marie and I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah. And then you also get to be a part of what we call the care team. Could you talk about that a little bit?
I do. A lot of people will remember Pastor David Mittendorf. When he was here and worked with the senior ministry, he asked if anybody would like to be involved in a compassionate ministry called the care team. Well, a lot of people held up their hands, and we had a little meeting, and everybody pointed to me, and I ended up being the facilitator of that.
You got to stop being in rooms where decisions are made.
Yeah. But without Marie, it wouldn't happen because she's my right-hand person in that, I'll tell you. But, we facilitate the care team ministry now, which is really huge. We have like 12 people that volunteer, sometimes 15. There are formal volunteers, and a lot of other people do things like send cards, make visits, and the like. But we do all kinds of things, and Pastor Tim's on our care team staff as well. And when he makes a visit to someone and gives sacraments of communion, we record that, and we record it when our people do it as well, and add all these things up. And we're finding that there are more than 300 compassionate ministry outreach events that happen every month around here, all just due to these 12 people.
Man. Well, what's something I'd love to hear, just maybe, this might be putting you on your spot just a little bit, but maybe just a story about something that's happened in one of those ministries that just kind of sticks out as a moment in which God kind of moved in a powerful way. He made something happen. Someone came to faith. Like, what's something that maybe sticks out?
Well, it's interesting to me how people come to us in prayer and praise from Shepherd. They might come from even another church and keep attending that church, and that's okay. But as they move through Shepherd and through the prayer and praise ministry, when you're older, you might become ill or something. The stories that happen all the time is that someone comes in, they just fall in love with the people and the way they treat each other, and the fellowship time and so forth. And then if they become ill, they find that they receive cards, they receive phone calls, visits, and so forth. And if they happen to pass on during that time, which happens a lot, unfortunately, at our age, then sorry.
It's okay.
They find the families of these people find out how much the church cares for their loved one, and so we just keep reaching out through that whole process. In some years, Marie and I, and many others would attend as many as 8 or 10 funerals for our own people.
Yeah.
Which is, which is kind of sad, but that's the way life goes. And it's the first thing that came to mind when you asked was that process that we see happening time after time, where the people just keep caring.
Yeah. Well, it's one of the beautiful things about in a family, in a faith family like this, to be able to walk through those moments with people.
Right.
It's important, and it is part of life, but it's a precious part of life to be able to hold someone's hand and hold a family's hand as they're walking through that. And we're thankful for you and for Marie and for people like that get to do that with so many people. Well, Ken, we're so thankful for you, thankful for the ministries that you're a part of, but more so, we're just thankful for you, that it's not about what you do, but it's about kind of who you are. And Pray and Pray is turning 25. That's something, man.
25, yeah.
Well,
I hope we can have a little celebration this coming August, I believe it is.
All right. Well, let's talk about it. Well, I'm thankful for you, and if you wanna hear more about Ken, you should come to Pray and Praise on Tuesdays, and he'll be glad to talk to you. But that's gonna do it for our episode today. We'd love for you to subscribe wherever you get your audio so you don't miss an episode. We think that we would be great if you could give us a nice 5-star rating, and you can even dedicate it to Ken and his awesome stories. But you could get a hold of us if you'd like at podcast@shepnaz.org. You can know more about what's happening at Shepherd through our website, through our social media pages, and our app. But for Ken, I'm Joey. Thanks for listening. Have a nice day.
This podcast is a production of the Shepherd Church of the Nazarene, Gahanna, Ohio. Email to podcast@shepnaz.org and let us know what you think.